Okay, hi there guys. A few of you guys have been asking me about my car and my setup and have suggested that I should do a walk around video and sort of go through everything and show you what I've got. So I thought I'd take the chance while I'm here at the Gibbo River and it's looking pretty dark, so don't know what I'm going to be doing today. So I thought I'd take the opportunity while I'm here to give you a bit of a look at everything I've got there. So yeah, my car is it's a wild track obviously. It's an MI 2025 wild track. I bought it brand new, and of course I got the guys at Ford to throw in the bonnet protector and the weather shields and the floor mats and all that stuff. So that's all the basic stuff you get, and I got to recommend the floor mats. They're definitely one of the things you need if you're going to go any sort of four-wheel driving. So yeah, it's brand new. It's got the tech pack, it's got all that stuff in it. I mean, you guys probably know most of all that stuff anyway. But yeah, and all the accessories I went with TJM because firstly I actually like the look of it. I think it looks better than a lot of the other stuff on the market. And I don't want to upset anyone. I know we've all got our favourites, whether you're ARB or Iron Man or whatever else it is. But I really didn't want to go and buy an ARB this and an Iron Man that and a TJM this and run around and take days off work to get it all installed and set up, and I just went with everything TJM, and to be honest I couldn't be happier. I mean, the guys, I got mine done down there at Dandenong in Melbourne, and I tell you what guys, if you're looking to do something like this to your car, get down there and see Martin and Shane and Chris and Kat and all the guys. They are absolutely fantastic. They worked with me through all of this and they were unbelievably supportive. They were fantastic on the pricing and on labour costs and all that kind of stuff, and you know, they've just been absolutely amazing to me. So I would highly recommend them. If you want to get anything like this done, get down there to Dandenong and see those guys, because they were just amazing, and they've helped me out. Like one or two things have, you know, come loose or fallen off or whatever, and yep, fixed it in a couple of minutes, and they have just been amazing. So highly recommend them. So yeah, I suppose, where do I start? I can start at the front, I suppose. So yeah, the bull bar is a TJM Outback bull bar. So it's been really good so far. I haven't hit any kangaroos or anything, so it's a bull bar, but it looks great and it's done its job so far. So yeah, that's the TJM bull bar, and I've got the TJM 9,500 pound winch, which I've used twice now on this trip, so it's definitely paid for itself. Otherwise I'd be stuck out there in the middle of nowhere. But that's been fantastic with the synthetic rope as well. And across the front there I've got the lights. I've got the driving lights there. I just went with the El Cheapo Kings, you know, four-wheel drive Super Center ones. I mean, honestly, I don't do a lot of night driving. Most of the time I travel during the day and I get set up in the afternoon or early evening, then I'm in camp. Once you put the awning up, can't drive anywhere. So I really don't do a lot of night driving, so I really can't justify spending $6,000, $7,000, $800, you know, to $1,000 on, say, ARB intensity lights or, you know, extra vision, or, you know, the steadies are great. They're not as expensive, but still it's a lot of money. So I just went with them, and to be honest, they're fantastic. They do the job, they light up the road. So that's pretty much all I need. The light bar is also a cheapy four-wheel drive Super Center, and as you can see at the moment it's sticky taped on because it fell off up the road there a bit a couple of days ago. So I lost all 4 screws out of it. I have no idea how all 4 screws can fall out, but they did. All at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but I just noticed it and I saw the last one fall out. So yeah, that's not looking too flash at the moment. And what else have I got there? I've got the full Brown Davis underbody protection, so it goes the whole length. I've got the radiator, the engine, the transmission, the whatever else it is. It goes the whole way. So that's come in pretty handy a couple of times as well. It's got a few scratches and dents in it, but it just gives you peace of mind. And if you bottom out somewhere, you know you're not going to tear out anything, and it's I'd highly recommend getting some of that stuff as well. So that's definitely great. The other thing is AirTech snorkel. That's been pretty good. I haven't noticed any issues with it. I have heard people say that they don't like the noise of the snorkel and all that kind of stuff. To me, it doesn't worry me at all. I haven't had any issues with it at all. So yeah, it's a snorkel. It does its job. So lets me get across the rivers. Right, yeah, so I think if we go down the side, I've got the TJM side steps, and they have definitely saved me. As you can see, they're already bent, and I did that on the Wellington River, the very first trip I went away on. I kind of went up and over one of those erosion mounds, or you know, the humps that you go over, and it was wet, it was raining, and as I went over I kind of slipped forward down and the whole car just came down bang, and that's how I managed to bend that. And the one on the other side I did on Burgoyne's track. I mean, some of you might know Burgoyne's track down here in Victoria. It's a couple of sections there, it gets pretty rocky and pretty rough, and kind of got a little bit on the side of one rock and I slipped off and went down and bang, hit the other side step, and now that one's a bit curved as well. But I might replace them eventually, but to be honest, they've done their job. That's what they're there for. I mean, if I didn't have them, I would have massive damage to the sills, and that's really hard to fix and very expensive. So they've been great. They've done what they're supposed to do. So, you know, I really can't complain. And gives the car a bit of character too. People look at you on the road and go, wow, he's been somewhere. So that's all right. The wheels and tyres, I got them done when I got the car as well. That was another thing. So they're Raptor rims, the CSA Raptor rims, which really, I actually don't mind the look of the black rims that come with it, but I don't know, at the time I went for those. So I've got the BFG all-terrain tyres on it. I can't remember the size. They're, I don't know, 285, 60 R18, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know everyone's got their favourite tyre. There's the whole debate between the Toyos and the Wild Peaks and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, off-road they're great. And I must admit, in the wet, in the city, they can get a little bit slippy. I have noticed that once or twice. I mean, I don't drive like a madman, but they can be a little bit. So, but I was going to actually go for the Wild Peaks, but a bit of advice that guy gave me when I was getting them, when I got the car, and he said to me, look, if you're in a remote kind of area, like in the outback, or even up here, somewhere like Cooma, or, you know, Omeo, or somewhere like that, excuse me, he said, if you've got, excuse me, yeah, a bit of advice. The guy told me when I got the car, you know, I was looking at tyres, and he said if you're in one of those more remote areas, you know, like whether it's the outback or even up here in the high country, if you're in somewhere like Omeo or Corryong, or, you know, some of they're towns, but they're not big. He said if you get the Toyos or you get the Wild Peaks and you get a puncture, it's going to take a week for them to get it in stock to replace. So he said most places, most, you know, service centres and that have BFGs in stock, so you'll be right to get one. But any of the other brands, you could be waiting a week or two. So I thought, yeah, that's probably a good idea. It's probably peace of mind, actually. So I went with them, and they've been fine so far. I've still got tons of tread on. I've only done 20,000 Ks in the car, so, you know, they're going to last a couple more years, I hope. So they've been all right. And right, so if we go around the back, I've got the TJM rear bar. And that saved my bacon a few times as well, to be honest. They're having the extra bars there on the rear. It saved the rear. It's been fantastic. That's done its job, and because it's got a bit of a step there, it makes it easy to get up on the, you know, if I need to grab something off the roof, or I can even just stand on it to get into the fridge if I can't be bothered dropping down with the fridge slide. And the other thing is too, I didn't go with the brush bars at the front because personally for me, I just think they look stupid. I mean, it's like those guys that put a Kenworth bull bar on there, you know, Ford Ute. You know, I just don't like the way they look. It's just simple. I mean, they're probably a good idea. They're going to save my front end if I happen to squeeze through a tight spot. But yeah, I just don't like the look of them. So that's just a personal preference for me, and that's the reason why I didn't get them. So, I mean, I can always add them later on, but it's just not something that I just don't like the look of them. I mean, it doesn't make sense, I suppose, but that's it. Right, so if you go around the back, what else have I got up there? In the back, I've got the ARB fridge. I think it's a 45 litre fridge, and for me, I'm on my own. I don't have a family or kids or anything like that to feed, so 45 litre fridge is more than enough for me. And you know, I've seen in the past with some of my friends that go and get a 80 litre fridge, or you get bigger and bigger, and it just takes up half the car. And once you chuck your swags and stuff in there, you've got no room for anything else. So that works fine for me. You know, I can chuck a dozen cans in there and enough food for a couple of days. It does its job. So that's been working fantastic. I've got the drop-down fridge slide, the MSA drop-down fridge slide. Same thing again. Does its job. Does what it's supposed to do. I've got the set of rear drawers. I've got their RV Echo drawers, I think they're called, and I actually got them sort of semi-custom made. I don't like the really high drawers, because basically it's another thing, you're just lifting up towards the roof and you get less space in the back of your car. So I actually got them a little bit sort of narrower, a bit lower down, and to be honest, it works perfectly for me. It fits my swags and it fits everything in there. I've got a spot for everything. It just all fits like nice little square, and everything just goes in, and it's great. And day to day I can reach through the side windows to get the bits that I need. This works perfectly for me. So the one drawer I've got all my cooking gear and all that kind of stuff in, and the other drawer I've got the recovery gear in and little bits and pieces, whatever I need. So that's worked out great. They're actually really good. I'm pretty happy with them. So yeah, the canopy is the TJM premium canopy, and I've got to say I love it. Having the push buttons and central locking, demisters and stuff on the back, it's been great. It looks fantastic. I think it looks great, but it's been really good. I've had no issues at all with that either. It's got the rear spoiler on it and brake lights and all that stuff, so that's really good. Okay, so where else do I go? Up on the roof rack. The roof racks are the Yakima roof racks. I mean, really was the choice between the Rhino rack and the Yakimas, more or less. So I went with the Yakimas because they were just a little bit cheaper. And I have had one or two issues with them, which was actually a manufacturing issue. And I was lucky enough because it came loose, and I went back to TJM, and luckily the actual Yakima rep was in the store at the time when I went there, so I was just lucky. But the clamps, where it clamps onto the roof rails, it was a manufacturing thing. The threads, I don't know, they did something wrong when they made them, so they were coming loose. So yeah, I had a couple of times I thought, oh God, it's going to fall off, but luckily that guy was there, so I got them all replaced under warranty and got new ones, and haven't had an issue since. But honestly, would recommend, if you're going to get a roof rack system like that, I would probably go with the backbone. It just gives you that extra peace of mind, because those ones are sort of clamped on or whatever it is, which it's been alright, but just for that peace of mind. I mean, you don't want something like that coming off in the middle of nowhere and all your stuff's all over the road, and no, it's not good. So I wanted to get the backbone, but I was a bit hesitant. I mean, I just paid, thousands of dollars for a brand new car, and I didn't want someone undoing the roof lining and drilling holes in the roof and all that kind of stuff. I was a bit scared. But I mean, they're professionals. They do it every day. They know what they're doing, I suppose. But yeah, I didn't do it. I probably should, but I didn't. So anyway, right on the front there, I've also got the King's 50-inch light bar. I really don't use it because it's bright. As you know, you get that bonnet glare, and when it comes off the road signs and stuff, it's like daylight. You can't see. So I really only bought it in case I come somewhere like this at night time and I'm on a skinny sort of track or something like that. It'll really light up everything so I can see. But like I said, I don't really do a lot of night driving anyway, so it's just handy to have. And I've also got two reverse lights mounted on the back of the roof rack up the back, and they are really handy. If you're reversing in the dark, obviously, it really shines the light, and you can see on the screen, of course. So they're definitely come in handy, because the amount of times I've been in the bush in my older cars, and you reverse and there's a tree stump there, or there's a rock in the grass that you can't see, or something. 9 times out of 10 you're going to hit it. So they really come out. They really help. So what else have I got? The awning. Actually, with the roof racks too, I went with the side rails. They look a little bit chunky, but it really does make things easier to tie down, and if anything does happen to slide around, they're going to bounce into that. And yeah, it's just a little bit of extra peace of mind rather than just having the whole flat rack. And also with that, the wind noise, I see a lot of people are, have troubles with wind noise, and honestly I don't hear anything. It doesn't make any noise at all. So whether it's a combination of the light bar and the rack itself, I don't know, but I don't hear any whistling, I don't get anything, so that's great. I've got the shovel holder on there. I didn't want to go with the high lift jack holder. One, because the high lift jack's really heavy, as you know, and it's probably going to take up half of your maximum rating for the roof. But secondly, I don't like the idea of lifting the jack up right next to my car, and something goes wrong, you can bang it into your car, you can drop it, whatever. Because I've actually seen that happen once or twice before as well. People will lift it up and the corner of the jack or something will go bang straight into your panel, and that's going to ruin it real quick. So I didn't like that idea. So I've just got the bottle jack there, and I've got a couple of big pieces of wood tucked away, so if I need a bit of extra height or stability or whatever, I can chuck it underneath it. Yeah, I don't like the idea of having that jack. I mean, if you've got an old clapped out, Hilux or Patrol that's 20 years old, you don't mind getting a scratch or two, but not on a new car. So yeah, that's why I haven't got that. And the other thing is the awning. The awning is the Darchi 2.5 metre by 2.5 metre, and I do kind of wish that I went for the 3 metre, just to give me that bit of extra at the rear, so if it is raining I can get into the window there at the back and not get wet, obviously. But I think 3 metres out forward, front way, is getting a bit too long as well. So, it's, can't do much about it. I wish I could get a 2.5 metre by 3 metre long, length that way along. But yeah, I mean, the awning's great. It's no different really to any other awning, I suppose. It's stood up to the weather, it's done what it has to do, but my only complaint is the bag that it goes in. It drives me crazy every day. Like, I know they can't make the bag too big because it's going to flap around in the wind and all that kind of stuff and make noise, but if you don't roll that thing up exactly perfectly, it doesn't go in the bag. And you've probably seen on some of my videos, I have about 2 or 3 attempts every single time I roll it up. And so it really gives me the irrits. But, can't do much about it. But if they just gave like an extra inch or 2 on either end, it'd be sweet. But apart from that, it's great. It does its job. So, yeah. What else have I got? I've got the diesel catch can and pre-filter as well. I can't think, Pro Filter, Pro Tune, something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but got all that in there. And the dual battery system as well. I've got the, I think it was a Home of 12 volt. I've got a 120 amp hour battery in there, which is a Century or something like that, I think it is. But I've got the Thumper DC to DC charger and all that. And to be honest, it's great. I mean, I drive enough every day, so I get up, I mean, it's only 8 o'clock in the morning now, so I'll drive for an hour or two and that'll charge it up, and I'm back to, gets back up to 13 or whatever it is volts. I mean, at the moment it's probably a bit low because I've been sitting here since yesterday afternoon and it's been on all night, but once I take off from here and start driving, up she goes again. And I've also got the C-Tech charger as well, so if it does run down a bit low, I can, if I stop at powered site, a caravan park or something, I can just whack that on and recondition it and charge it up again. But I do actually want to get a solar blanket because it would be nice. I mean, like I said, I get set up usually by sort of 4 o'clock somewhere. I could chuck that out on the ground and pump a bit of juice back into it. So that's definitely another thing on the list. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think I've also got the UHF. I've got the Oricom dual receive UHF, which I got Ford to throw in as well when I bought the car. But I travel on my own, so I've got no one to talk to anyway. It doesn't really matter. But it is handy if you're on some tracks, you can switch it on and you can hear other people, of course. So, it's just one of those things it's always handy to have, and plus the aerial makes your car look good too. So that's another reason I bought it. Technically I didn't buy it, I got it thrown in with the price of the car. So that worked out well. Yeah, so okay, I think that's about it. That's a fair bit to go through, but yeah, like I said, I love it. It drives well. It's gets me out here doing the things that I enjoy doing. So yeah, it's a good setup for the way that I, need it. But I know it's different for everyone. If you've got, obviously, a wife and kids and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have a complete different setup. And yeah, I mean, my car's packed to the rafters just with me being in it, so I couldn't imagine having 2 or 3 kids and everything else. Yeah, you need a caravan. So yeah, all right, I think that's just about everything. So yeah, just give you a bit of a look at everything, and yeah, I hope to see you out on the road sometime. So yeah, keep watching, subscribe and enjoy. See you later.